Welcome to the first episode of the People Side of Automotive. I'm your host, Mandy Deveau. In this series, we dig into the human side of dealership success, how culture, leadership, and everyday interactions shape results just as much as sales numbers and service hours. Today, I'm joined by Devin Kaulback, General Manager at Subaru of Niagara. His dealership has been recognized as a top workplace, and for good reason. In our conversation, we cover what it really takes to build and sustain a culture where people are excited to come to work every day. We'll talk about the power of recognition, breaking down silos between departments, engaging with community, and why attitudes often outweigh skills when it comes to building a strong team. If you're leading in the automotive space, or if you want to, this episode will give you a practical lesson on retention, collaboration, and creating an environment where both employees and customers thrive. So let's jump in. Here's my conversation with Devin Kaulback. But the big thing we really want to hear about is that the culture that you've built and how you were able to win that award back to back for the best workplace. And what would you attribute to your success and what led to that win?
We've been at this with our store since 2012. That's when we first opened. So, it's been many years of doing the little things right, making some mistakes and learning from them. But again, a lot goes back to the little moments that we have with the team and what we've created every single day. Little moments of recognition, sharing success across all the different departments. Everyone's kind of drinking the same juice and knows what sales is doing, service knows what parts is doing, and everyone's kind of a part of the bigger picture with the store.
Yeah, and I'm so there with you about the little things. Could you give some examples of what those little things are every day that you think really do move the needle?
So good question. There are things that we kind of just do like subconsciously that we're just so used to doing, but little things like our car wash person will come to me if he has any concerns, and he's heard and his issues are addressed right away without any questioning or any kind of roadblocks. If one of our service advisors recommends a service customer to our sales department directly to upgrade their vehicle, he'll end up with a gift card on his desk without even expecting it. Just small little touches that we do, daily with our team.
I love that. It's really that wow factor. I know it's important to deliver that to the customers, but when you lead first and show that to your employees, then they're obviously naturally going to want to deliver that onto the customers as well. And you just alluded to something here. You mentioned that it's natural, it's just something you guys have always done. So how do you think, or what is there anything that you can point back to that helped you ingrain that sense of culture and just that wow experience that you're creating for everyone within your culture?
Previous work experiences and things that we've seen done that were always done that way that never really worked. So wanting to kind of change up how things were always done and do things different. And I think a lot of people that come into our store, a lot of the comments that we get in our surveys talk about, the buzz that they feel. Everyone's excited to work there. The smiles on the faces. It feels like a different place to visit than a lot of the kind of, more dull and less vibrant places that are out there.
Yeah. Oh, I can totally relate to that. That's the one thing I've always said is I just love being inside the dealership. It's just a different vibe. And when the culture is on and everyone is genuinely excited to be there, it is intoxicating. And then that's what they mean by automotive gets in your blood. Because once it does and you feel that buzz, it's so hard to get away from it. It's like
Right.
incredibly addictive. It's interesting that I'm seeing a lot of parallels of the things that you're saying. I was just having a pretty intense conversation on LinkedIn the other day talking about technicians. And so they were just talking about how they hate that mindset of it's always been done this way. And so I know there's a lot going on with technician shortages and things like that. Do you see that impacting your business, or do you think that your culture is helping you with your staffing levels?
Our culture is definitely helping. I know you haven't seen our store, but we are a newer facility that was renovated in 2019.
Mhm.
But the floor plan and the footprint didn't really change. So we have 7 hoists, but we operate like we have 15.
Oh, wow.
And we sell 1,400 cars a year, and we have like 10 customer parking spots. But we're able to maximize what we have to work with. But just little things like, if we do a door rate increase, we make sure that our technicians also get an increase. If there's something that they feel is needed in the shop, whatever the idea is, I mean, within reason, but we'll green light that and make sure that's done for them. So we just did like new lighting in there. We obviously have an AC, like a fully air conditioned service facility. They wanted to change where they're doing the grinding. We changed the ventilation system for them. So we do little things to make sure that where they work every single day is the environment that they want to work in. And I mean, we haven't had any technician turnover in over 3 years.
That's incredible, actually, because I know that we hear some crazy numbers right now and a lot of dealerships struggling. So I'm really curious. I see that you have a recognition program that you guys promote a lot on your LinkedIn. And so it seems like there's a variation. Like I saw that you just have the star employees and then you have the employee of the month. Could you maybe give us a little bit of an overview of your recognition program, the formal one that you guys use, and how that attributes to the success you guys have?
Yeah, so Subaru Canada, they have their Star Performer program for service and for parts and also sales. So there's recognition from the OEM in that front.
Cool.
But recently we just started the Team Member of the Month. And the main message behind that is, it's not going to be, I mean, it could go to the person that sells the most cars or, writes the most work orders or something like that, but it's going to be someone that is always there for the team, doing something that they're not asked to do. So there's more to it than just the stats. So for the first month, they went to our receptionist, who's been with us for about 5 years now, and she has a great attitude. She's pulled in different directions every single day, and she does it with a smile on her face, and that makes everyone's job easier.
Yeah, no, definitely. That's awesome. I'm really glad to hear that because I think it's celebrating everyone who's not necessarily that revenue generator. Because I know it always gets tied back to numbers in auto sales or just in the auto industry. So to recognize those people who may not be that front player for what they bring and how important their role is, regardless of what it is that they do.
Yeah, and that was a big part of why I wanted to do something like this, because the top performers always get a lot of recognition and get the shout outs, but the team is a lot bigger than just 4 or 5 people. So that wanted to make that message clear throughout the entire team.
That's fantastic. I do have a harder question for you. I'm so curious. So the one thing, like I've worked in like mom and pop size dealerships, and I've also worked in some larger groups, and I've also come in during like right after an acquisition. So I've seen some different experiences in dealership, and I'm curious. I speculate you don't have too much of that silo effect happening within your dealership. And if you don't, how are you able to break down those barriers?
So one of the things that I think just happens naturally, if you saw how the store was set up downstairs, I'm upstairs, so downstairs, it's kind of like one big greenhouse. There's no walls, it's all glass. And from where I sit, I can almost hear what's happening in the parts department. I can hear all the service interactions. I can hear all the sales interactions. But that kind of goes the same with our service advisors can hear parts hears service hears sales. So that naturally kind of breaks that down. But again, just sharing the success across all the different departments. Again, everyone, drinking the same kind of thing with knowing what's happening in the store and feeding off that energy from sales, service, and parts does have a chain reaction across all the different departments.
I love that you guys literally like broke down the walls and that's having that impact across the whole board. And
Yeah.
do you have any kind of secret or any way that you convey that information about all the different departments across the dealership? Like how do you get people excited and paying attention about what's happening in the service department versus what's happening on the front end?
Yeah, so we'll have team announcements. We'll celebrate small little wins, even if they're just one-on-one conversations. They'll be followed up with like a team email about what's being celebrated. But again, it doesn't have to be a big grand thing. It could just be, for example, how we're pacing towards our CP target or how we're doing month to date based on registrations. It's just the open communication that is kind of made daily that just kind of creates that energy like through the store.
I love that. And I saw that you guys have some participation in your community. Do you think that your community involvement ties back to what you're seeing within the dealerships?
Yeah, oh yeah, definitely. Like we very early on. So when we opened in 2012, we were a new open point. So there was no Subaru store here. So no one knew about Subaru really in the Niagara region. The next closest store was in Hamilton. So we had to kind of make a name for ourselves, and literally customer one was customer one, and now we're over 10,000 since that date. From different scholarships that we offer through the different school systems, like in the region, sport team initiatives. We do a lot of work with the Greater Niagara Chamber of Commerce as well. Anything that's kind of going on in Niagara, we've been a part of it at some point, but we're doing things, every month that does give back to the community.
I love that. I think that sometimes that gets taken for granted and people really miss that element. I was working marketing for a small Mazda dealership in a small town, and its numbers were not good, but it was actually during COVID times, and we took charge of some of the community events and we brought them outside. We made them accessible for people when everyone was shutting everything down. And really that year their sales really took off and they were able to grow a tremendous percentage in that area during that time. So the community factor is huge in the success of a dealership.
Yeah, I'm a numbers person, and you can get lost in the numbers if you're saying, okay, what were our donations last year? What did we contribute to this event? And there are a lot of dealerships that have kind of scaled back that to save some money. And in the end, people do remember that, and how you do impact your community. I mean, it will pay for itself in the long run for sure.
So I'm really curious, with that community forward approach, what's your take? Like, what do you feel your leadership style is? And also, what would you consider to be an A player on your team? Like, what are you looking for in other people?
To answer the second part first, and we haven't pretty much I've had the exact same sales team for many years. We haven't had to do a lot of hiring because we don't have a lot of turnover. But we're always looking for the proper attitude. Skills are good to have, but a lot of the time they can be taught. We had someone that we onboarded in January for sales because we had one of our salespeople go on mat leave. So he was brand new to the car industry. He was in sales previous, but totally new to the car industry, but he had the right attitude. He was a great listener, and I learned that right from the very beginning when we first met. And when you do hire new people in the car industry, especially in sales, they can kind of get tainted based on conversations that they have with other salespeople. And you can see someone that was going to potentially or looked like a top performer just spiral downwards and then get a bad attitude and things like that. But he's been able to maintain that same attitude from the first day that I met him. Wow. And he's quickly, made himself, I would say, number 2 on the sales team up against people that have been with us for over 10 years. So he's, so the big thing to that has been his attitude, and he's a yes person like me. So if I ask him to do something, he's always there to do it, and he knows I have his back as well.
Oh, that's incredible. And so for yourself, what would you say your leadership style would be?
I've never really been asked that before. I definitely lead with the numbers and the data. Because with that, a lot of things can be explained to your team members by using that instead of just vague speeches about whatever. Now to that point as well, I would say that I do want to kind of be the yes person in a lot of ways. And we try to have that same influence with our customers. And that's kind of like the Ritz-Carlton experience aspect of it. I empower my team members to make decisions. Our sales team doesn't have to touch desk 10 times for one sales transaction. Our service advisor is able to proactively, slightly discount something if he's seeing a customer that's, not happy with the experience, and they don't have to go through different loops to, change that experience for the customer. Yeah, that's the way that we operate.
No, it's awesome. It sounds a little bit like servant leadership and also empowering and trust with your team. I think I've had other conversations with people like service managers and things like that, and they found a huge difference when they empowered their advisors to have like a budget to be able to wow their customer base. And I think that's important. When you empower your team to be able to make those decisions and they don't have to rely on you, it has so much impact on what they're able to do for the customer.
Yeah, and I mean, a lot of people will, focus on their effective labor rate and their discounts and their policy. It's great to have those numbers in line and check and know where you're tracking, but at the same time, there's another side to look at it. So, is there a customer that's potentially leaving your showroom that didn't have a good experience? What's the trickle down effect? Who are they going to talk to? Where you could have done something that they didn't expect that cost next to nothing just to change that interaction, it's worth it all.
Oh, 100%. I agree with you there. So we're almost up for time. So I'm just curious if you had to leave any lesson for the next person coming up in automotive who really wants to be successful, what would you say would be your best advice for them?
You can't teach attitude, and it's all about having a positive attitude, not getting bogged down in the negative that can be around you, paving your own way, and keep the positive attitude going. They're in different management roles. You can kind of get hit with a lot of um, not negative things, but problems. And you hear about more problems than you do positive things sometimes. So
Yeah.
if you have that one individual that is always, with the right mindset, ready to help, and actively, looking to make a difference for either the customer or for the team, that person would be, a go-to leader in the future for sure.
Awesome. I love that. Well, thank you so much for your time today, for your interview and your honesty. This is really insightful. I love being able to hear what really made it work for you guys because that's really a big deal to have won back-to-back years for this award. So
Yeah, no, it means a
congratulations on
lot
that.
to it means a lot to our team. There's one other Subaru store in Ontario that has won. No other Subaru stores across Canada that I'm aware of.
Wow.
But I know Faf Subaru and Taylor, and they do a great job. So to be alongside them and the other winners means a lot to us.
Fantastic. Well, again, congratulations and thank you so much for
Thank
the
you.
time today.
Thank you. Appreciate it.